Okay. Om Gurur Brahma Gurur Vishnu Gurur Devo Maheshwarah Guru Sakshat Param Brahma Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Okay. Om. Om. ಇವತ್ತು ಶುಕ್ರವಾರ, ಸೊ ಅದರಿಂದ ಸುಗಮ. One, two, yeah. Okay. In Adhyasa, we were discussing body cannot be there is no body without Adhyasa. This was Siddhanti's word. Now here is a Purva Pakshi. He has something to say. He wants to say, Syadetat, Purva Pakshi's argument. Yosau dehasya adhyastatma bhatavavaha pratignataha sanashakya sambhavanaha. He wants to say, body is not Adhyasa. Purva Pakshi wants to say, body is not Adhyasta upon the Atman. It is there. Atma is using it. Atma is using it, but it is not Adhyasta. This is what he wants to say. Okay. Yosau dehasya adhyastatma bhavaha pratignataha sanashakya sambhavana. So, you said that body is adhyasta upon the body. This seems to be impossible, Purva Pakshi says. Because, why impossible? Dehatmanoh anyonya adhyase ubhayorapi asatva prasangat. Your stand, Purva Pakshi is telling, Siddhanti's stand is Atma and Deha are mutually imposed upon each other. Okay? Atma and Deha are mutually imposed. If they are imposed like that, see what is the problem? What is imposed doesn't exist in reality. This is a simple logic. Like a snake is imposed upon the rope. What is imposed doesn't exist in reality. It appears under imposition alone. If body is imposed upon the Atma, yeah, we can understand body doesn't exist in reality. But if Atma is also imposed upon the body is imposed upon the Atma, if they are mutually imposed upon each other, if there is a mutual adhyasa between Atma and Deha, then what would be the implication? That neither would be really existing. Neither there would be body, nor there would be, just a minute. 2. These are all useless Panchangas. Ashtami, okay, okay. Today is Ashtami. So, if the body and Atma both are mutually imposed upon each other, then both would be non-existent. Then that will be the big problem. So, nachaitadishtam, this is not acceptable to anybody, because yatha hi shuktikadishu adhyasthanam rajatadinam nityameva swadhisthane atyanta asatvam drishtam, just as the silver that is imposed means falsely seen to be present, falsely perceived, wrongly perceived on the ಏನು ಹೇಳ್ತಾರೆ seashell, the rajata silver seen on the seashell shuktika nityameva swadhisthane atyanta asatvam drishtam. What is wrongly perceived upon the seashell, the silver which is wrongly perceived upon the seashell is never existent. Atyanta asatvam means is totally non-existent, isn't it? So it is never existent. Tata dehatmanoh atyantvameva asatvam prapnoti tau chet paraspar adhyastau. If both are imposed like that, then both of them would be, it would mean that both have no existence of their own. But this is not acceptable to anybody, just as the silver superimposed upon the seashell is found to be totally non-existent in any period of time. The same would be case of the Atman and the body, if they two were mutual superimpositions. Okay, dehasya satas sattva bhavaha adhyastatvat, because he explains further. Purvapakshi is explaining. Dehasya swataha sattva bhavaha. Body has no independent existence. See, it is true that the body has no existence of its own. Body has no independent existence because it is superimposed. Okay. Then atmani chatasya sattva bhavaha adhyastatvadeva. Since it is superimposed, nor does it exist in the Atman. See, body neither exists on its own, nor it exists in the Atman. See, this is an interesting point. Body exists, neither it exists on its own, separate from the Atman, nor in the Atman. See, this is an important point. Body has no existence of its own, independent of Atman, nor does it exist in the Atman precisely for the same reason. Means body exists nowhere, neither independent of the Atman nor upon the Atman, dependent upon the Atman. Neither independent of Atman, body exists neither independently nor dependent upon the Atman, because it is totally adhyastha. Independent nor dependent. Okay. Evam atmanopi swataha dehecha abhavaha eva. Similarly, then Atma also, the same would be the fate of Atma. Atma neither exists independently, because you told it is only imposed upon the Atma, imposed upon the body. Then it exists neither independently, nor it exists upon the body. Dehecha abhavaha eva, because it doesn't exist in the body, that's very clear. but independently also it doesn't exist. Adhyastatva avisheshat iti shunyavadah eva prasajjeta. Then what would be the result? Then there would be only shunyavada. Shunyavada means totally non-existence. Purvapakshi is talking. Okay. Tatascha pratigna hanihi. If Atma and Anatma are mutually superimposed, they don't exist at all, because what is superimposed doesn't exist under superimposition. Okay. What is superimposed doesn't exist in reality but is only perceived. Like the snake, what is superimposed like the snake? It is only a perception but not a real existence. Now if you say snake is only superimposed, it doesn't exist outside. In Adhyasa it is only a perception. In Adhyasa it is only perception. But outside Adhyasa, no existence at all. No existence outside Adhyasa. Then either way it doesn't exist. Okay. You understood this point? What comes into existence only during Adhyasa, or what is a matter of superimposition alone? What is only superimposed is perceived during superimposition, therefore doesn't exist. See, what is only perceived during superimposition is only perceived but doesn't exist. Then since you are telling it is superimposed, it doesn't exist independently. Since it is a superimposed, it doesn't exist independently, and under superimposition it is only a perception but not an existence. That means in either way it doesn't exist. In either way, independent of superimposition it doesn't exist, because you are telling it is only, its nature is only to be, its nature is to be superimposed. If Atma, Anatma exist only under superimposition, then under superimposition they are only perceptions, don't exist. Independent of them they don't exist at all, because what is perceived during superimposition only under superimposition alone, independent of superimposition it doesn't exist. Okay. If body, because we say anadhyasta atma bhavena kinchit na vyapriyate, without independent of superimposition body doesn't exist. Independent of superimposition things don't exist. This is what Purvapakshi is interpreting. Okay. But in Siddhanti it is true with reference to body. Body doesn't exist. Now we are coming to Siddhanti, though Purvapakshi is continuing, but we just tentatively interfere in Purvapakshi and explain latest Siddhanti. It is true now, Siddhanti says, according to Siddhanta, it is true that body doesn't exist independent of Adhyasa, because body comes into existence only during Adhyasa. It is perceived, in fact it doesn't exist, it is only perceived during Adhyasa. Independent of Adhyasa it doesn't exist. This is true about body but not about Atma. Atma is superimposed, it is true, but Atma exists independent of superimposition also. This is important point. Atma exists independent of superimposition, but body doesn't exist independent of superimposition, because the very body's presence is only during superimposition, because it is only a perception. But Atma is not simply a perception during superimposition. See the note. Atma is not simply a perception during superimposition. It is self-existing. Even independent of Adhyasa, Atma exists. So this is the difference between body and the Atma. Okay, we leave the Siddhanta, come back to Purvapakshi. Now Purvapakshi continues. Purvapakshi says that both of them are mutually superimposed if you say. Now he is taking a general definition of superimposition. Anything which is superimposed, it is perceived during superimposition. Anything superimposed is perceived during superimposition. That means it doesn't exist but only perceived. It doesn't exist even during superimposition, it doesn't exist, simply perceived, but independent of perception, it doesn't exist at all. Independently it doesn't exist. Even during perception, it is only perceived but doesn't exist. In either way, it doesn't exist. If Atma is also superimposed upon the Anatma body, and body is superimposed on the Atma, if they are mutually superimposed, then what would be the implication? Both of them are perceived under Adhyasa. See, both are perceived under Adhyasa, and independent of Adhyasa, both become non-existent. Okay, you got the point. Both are perceived under Adhyasa, that means both don't exist independent of Adhyasa, because Atma is imposed. If something really existed before Adhyasa, see his argument, if it really existed before Adhyasa, where is the need to superimpose? You can't superimpose. If a thing really existed, then you don't superimpose, because there is no need, you can't superimpose. So superimposition means falsely perceiving. If it really existed, you will really perceive it, you don't falsely perceive it. Okay. If body existed independent of Adhyasa, note this, if body had existed independent of Adhyasa, you would perceive it directly. But we are perceiving it falsely. It is a false perception. False perception means its perception is only due to Adhyasa. Its perception is only due to Adhyasa. Only during Adhyasa it is perceived. Then, if it is independently perceived, then it is a real perception, then you can't call it a false perception. If Atma also, if independently exists, then it is an independent perception. Why do you have to superimpose? But you say that Atma is superimposed on the body is superimposed on the Atma, Anyonyadhyasaha, we have been telling. If Anyonyadhyasa means they are perceived only during superimposition. Independent of superimposition, if you remove the superimposition, neither body is perceived nor Atma is perceived, because both come to be perceived only under superimposition. When Atma is superimposed upon the body and body is superimposed upon the Atma, both are perceived under superimposition. This is Purvapakshi. Okay, still he is continuing. Purvapakshi has something more to say. Okay, therefore, dehasya hi swataha sattva bhavaha, because adhyastatvat. Body doesn't exist independently because it is adhyasta. What is adhyasta doesn't exist independently, because its very existence is superimposed existence. So, existence means appearance, perception. If its very existence is superimposed perception, then it doesn't exist independent of perception, independent of adhyasa, independent of superimposition. Its perception is only due to superimposition. Now, Atmanicha tasya sattva bhavaha. Okay. Body neither exists independently nor it exists during perception, because during perception, its perception during adhyasa is only perception but not real existence. Okay, this is about the body. Adhyastatva evam atmanopi. Similarly about the Atma. Just as about the body, so too about the Atma. Evam atmanopi swataha dehecha abhavaha. Since you are telling this implication Purvapakshi is deriving about the Atma, Atma also doesn't exist independently, because you superimpose it on the Atma. You superimpose upon the body. You superimpose Atma upon the body. then that means it is perceived only when it is under the superimposition upon the body. When it is perceived only under superimposition, then during superimposition, Atma, when superimposed upon the body, it is only perceived but doesn't exist. Then independent of superimposition, also it doesn't exist, because if it exists, then where is the need to superimpose? Atma should be seen directly. If you say Atma is the Atma which we are experiencing, so what Purvapakshi is taking like this, it is not true, but Purvapakshi is taking like this. Atma is experienced only when it is superimposed upon the body. See, Purvapakshi is taking like this. It is not true. Atma exists independent of superimposition, but Purvapakshi is taking Atma is experienced or perceived only under superimposition upon the body. That means independent of the body, if the Atma is not superimposed upon the body, Atma is not experienced at all. See, without the body, Atma is not experienced. Without the body, Atma is not Atma doesn't come to be experienced. Now, do you experience the Atma without the body? If Atma is not experienced without the body, nor body is experienced without the Atma, that means both are superimposition. Then means what? Independent of superimpositions, both do not exist. Then there will be only Shunyavada. This is what Buddhists say. See, so far what Purvapakshi accused Vedantins of, see, Purvapakshi accused Siddhanti, Vedantin of this view, but this view pertains to Buddhist. This is not the view of Vedantins. But Purvapakshi, having misunderstood Vedantins' view, taking the implication of Anyonya Adhyasa in his own way, and is interpreting it this way, and he says, if you take Atma, Anatma as mutual superimpositions, then the result will be, implication will be, there is only Shunyavada. Neither Atma exists nor Anatma, body exists. Then not only Anatma, not only body, the entire world. Neither world exists nor Atma exists. Both of them don't exist. Then what will happen? Anatma is entire world, Atma is body, body and entire world. If they are mutually existing, then they are perceived only under Adhyasa. You remove the Adhyasa, separate them, neither of them exist. Then there will be Shunyavada. You see, without studying Buddhism, we have studied Buddhism now. Generally, we study directly Vedanta, but here, during Vedanta, we come to understand the Buddhism also. So, Buddhism means this, Atma is Adhyastha, Prapancha is Adhyastha. Both are Adhyastha, ultimately there is no Atma at all. Okay, now, Atmanopi swataha dehe cha abhavaha eva adhyastatva visheshatiti shunyavadaha eva prasajjeta. Shunyavada will be the undesirable implication, undesirable conclusion. Tatascha pratignyahanihi. If this is your view, Purvapakshi continues. Purvapakshi says, if this is Siddhanti's view, what happens? Your pratignyahanihi. The pratignya which you have, pratignya means the initial proposition. The initial proposition is a pratignya. Final proposition is tatparya. Tatparya and pratignya. Pratignya and tatparya. Pratignya is initial proposition. Tatparya is final proposition. Mahavakya, final proposition. Okay. So, pratignyahanihi satyanrutayohi chidatma anatmanor mithunīkrutya loke vyavaharaha iti pratignatamiti. But if you say mutual superimposition, Purvapakshi says, if you say mutual superimposition, what happens? Both of them will become Adhyastha. If both are Adhyastha, then there will be no Satyam at all, there will be Shunyavada. But this Siddhanta of you goes against you, Purvapakshi says. You Siddhanti, what did you say in the beginning? What did you say in the beginning? You said in the beginning that Satyanrutayoha Mithunīkrutya, Atma is Satyam, Anatma Prapancha, body and the world is Asatyam, Anrutam. So the adhyasa is between Satyam and Anrutam. So Atma is Satyam and the body and the rest of the world is Anrutam, Mithya. Mithya means it appears only during adhyasa and it doesn't exist independent of adhyasa. Even during adhyasa it is only perceived but doesn't exist. Okay. And whereas the Atma is ever existing. Atma's existence is not during adhyasa, but independent of adhyasa, Atma exists on its own. This is what you told Siddhanti in the beginning. Now but now when you say that is a mutual adhyasa, you are contradicting yourself. Satyanrutam Mithunīkarana, it is a mixing of. Mithunīkarana is not mutual adhyasa. Purvapakshi is taking this way. Mithunīkaranam is mixing up, not mutual imposition. He is taking in. Purvapakshi is taking in his own peculiar way. Mithunīkrutya loke vyavaharaha iti pratignyate nacha vachyam astu dehasyaiva sarupena adhyastatvam. Purvapakshi says, Purvapakshi is taking Mithunīkaranam in his own peculiar meaning. Mithunīkaranam means only mixing up. Only mixing up, not real adhyasa. See, like snake and the rope, there is a real snake and the real rope, both of them come together. Like that, he is taking, there is a real body and the real Atma, they come together, they only get mixed up. One is Satyam, another is Anruta. Of course, he is admitting that body is Anruta and Atma is Satyam, body is Mithya, they come together. There is no adhyasa. I think these are all confusions. Anyway, these confusions we bring only to bring the clarity. Okay? Nacha vachyam astu. Siddhanti intervenes. While in fact Purvapakshi is continuing, but Siddhanti intervenes. He says, astu dehasyaiva swarupena adhyastatvam atmanastu dehe samsrishtatvenaiva adhyastatvam. Siddhanti says, see, this is a Mula Vidyavadins. Body is superimposed upon the Atma. Body is superimposed upon the Atma, therefore body is Anruta, Mithya. Body is superimposed upon the Atma, therefore it is Mithya. Dehasyaiva swarupena adhyastatvam. So the whole bodily, swarupena, how to say that? Swarupena means its very existence. Body is Swarupena Adhyasta, means the very entire existence of the body is superimposed upon the Atma. Okay, this is Mula Vidyavadi is explanation. It is not exactly Siddhanti. It is Mula Vidyavadi giving a reply to Purvapakshi. Satyanrutayoha Mithunīkaranam means body is totally superimposed. Totally means the whole existence. Existence of the body is superimposed upon the Atma. Atmanastu dehe samsrishtatvenaiva adhyasta. Whereas the Atma's superimposition upon the body is not completely its existence. Atma's existence is not superimposed upon the body. Atma's is only connection is superimposed. Okay? See, they say body is existence of the body is superimposed upon the Atma, but when Atma is superimposed upon the body, the very existence of Atma is not superimposed. Existence of Atma is not a misunderstanding, but it is only connection with the body. Samsrishta. Okay? It is only a contact. Only contact with the body alone the connection with the body alone is superimposed. Atma's existence is not superimposed. Okay, this is the difference. Thus, there is no room for your stated doubt. Okay. Now, Purvapakshi replies to Mula Vidyavadi. What does he say? No, tathacha nokta shankavakashaha iti. Purvapakshi says that no, tathapi kalu dehasya atman nasatyam pratyaksha viruddham prasajjeta eva. Tathapi kalu, however, it comes to mean that the body is non-existent in the Atman. Idarinda, body, okay. Mula Vidyavadi, what did Mula Vidyavadi say? Body alone is bodily superimposed. Bodily means wholly superimposed. Wholly superimposed, the entirely superimposed. Body alone is entirely superimposed. Atma is not, the entire Atma is not superimposed. Atma retains its individual existence, its own existence, only its contact, only its samsarga, only its connection is superimposed. Means connection alone is mithya, Atma's existence is not mithya. Whereas the body, the whole body is mithya, because the whole body is perceived only under superimposition and doesn't exist independently. Okay. Tathapi khalu dehasya atmanyasatvam pratyaksha viruddham prasajjeta. Purvapakshi says this is not acceptable because this goes against experience. This is very important. See, however, it comes to mean that the body is non-existent in the Atman, which obviously contradicts the direct experience. So, if you say body alone is totally superimposed, body alone is totally, body means the entire prapancha, the body is totally superimposed upon the Sakshi Atma, then what happens? Body would be non-existent. Body would be non-existent independently. Even during Adhyasa also, it is only a perception but doesn't exist. It is only a wrong perception but doesn't exist. If this is the case, what will be the problem? Atmanasya samsrishtatvenaiva adhyastatve pratyaksha viruddham, he says it is against our experience. Purvapakshi says, body, see the Purvapakshi's point. Purvapakshi means all common people think like that. Body is perceived not only under Adhyasa, it is really existing. Purvapakshi says body is really existing. You can't say body is perceived only during Adhyasa. He says body's perception is real. It is not due to Adhyasa. Okay. Pratyaksham, we see body perceived directly. Body and the world. Not only body, the entire world. Don't we perceive the world? Don't we perceive the body? Then how can you say it is Adhyasta? I think this is a Dvaitin's objection. Okay. This is Dvaitin's objections. Who are Dvaitins? Everybody other than Advaitin is Dvaitin. There is no specific person, entire people. Other than Advaitins, all are Dvaitins only. Okay. So, it is a Pratyaksha Viruddham, that the body and the world, okay, body and the world entire world. If entire world is adhyasta upon the Atman, then the body and the world should be perceived during adhyasa. That means it is a misperception. He says, but it is not true. Our direct experience says that it is not a misperception, it is a clear perception. It is a true perception. Body is there, world is there, is a true perception. Why do you say it is a misperception? Purvapakshi says. Okay, pratyaksha viruddham. It is not wrong perception, but real perception. Purvapakshi says it is a real perception. Atmanascha. Ika coming about the Atma. Atmanascha samsrishtatvena adhyastatve aham manushyata iti tadatmya pratitir nasyat iti tatrapi drishta virodaha. Abba. I think it's a very complex topic. I am going very fast. I think I have to discuss some more points. It's a very difficult topic. Many angles are involved in it. If now the second point, if body, I think today we will not be able to finish, we will do it in next class. Okay, I will say a little bit and continue in the next class. If body is entirely adhyastam, body and the world, entirely adhyastam means what? Its perception is only during adhyasa. That's what entirely means. Entirely adhyastam means its perception is only during adhyasa, independent of adhyasa, it is not perceived. That means the whole world, including the body, is only a misperception. Purvapakshi says this is against our experience. When we perceive the body directly, body and the world, how can you say it is a misperception? It is a real perception, not misperception. We are perceiving clearly. There is no mistake in the perception. See, there is no mistake in the perception. It is a unmistaken perception. A perception without mistake, unmistaken perception. Because the whole world is perceiving. Not only me and you and everybody is perceiving. Okay. Then coming to the Atma. If Atma is here Siddhanti, that is a Mula Vidyavadi, told that when the body is superimposed upon the Atma, it is one kind of adhyasa. When Atma is superimposed upon the Atma, it is another kind of adhyasa. He told the nature of adhyasa is different. When the body and the world is superimposed upon the Atma, it is the entire thing is superimposed. That means it is perceived during adhyasa, it is a misperception. Entire body and world is a misperception, and it is perceived and it is found only during that misperception. Independent of misperception, it has no existence. Okay. When it comes to Atma, when Atma is superimposed upon the body, it is somewhat different. Atma's only connection with the body is superimposed. Atma's the very existence is not superimposed. This is what Mula Vidyavadi told. Purvapakshi says, you are telling, see, Purvapakshi is objecting to Mula Vidyavadi. He says, if Atma's connection alone is superimposed upon the body, and the very Atma is not superimposed directly upon the Atma, means then what happens? See, watch this. This has to be seen in our Anubhava. Then what would be the nature of experience? See, when in this adhyasa, we are all in adhyasa condition. What do you feel? I am the body. Aham manushyaha. Aham manushyaha. I am a human being. This is what is everybody's experience. When you say aham manushyaha, that means the Atma is Manushya. Manushyattvam is Atma. So you see the Atma is totally superimposed upon the body. This is a very subtle point. I say today, and then again in the next class I will continue it. The subtle point is Atma imposed upon the body, or Atma is only connected to the body? This is the difference. Is Atma imposed upon the body, or Atma is only simply comes in contact with the body? if Atma comes in contact with the body, what happens? If Atma only contacts with the body, and if Atma is not superimposed upon the body, what would you think? Then Atma would be known without adhyasa. Then Atma's existence would be known, and your anubhava would have been, imaginary we are talking, your anubhava would have been Manushyatvam, I am possessed of Manushyatvam. Manushyatvam is a quality, but I am not Manusya. Manushyatvam is only a quality of me, but I am not Manusya. Because Atma is only connected with the Manushyatvam, is not superimposed. But if Atma is superimposed on the Deha, then what happens? Aham Manushyaha, I am Manushyaha is Anubhava we find. Since we find that Aham Manushyaha, I am Manushyaha, because I don't say Manushyatvam is only a superficial, what you say, how to say that Manushyatvam is superficially, I am using Manushyatvam, I am using the body, then your Anubhava would have been, I am using the body, I am using Manushyatvam, I am not Manusya, I am not the body. See, I am using the body, but I am not the body, I am not Manusya. I am only possessed of Manushyatvam. Okay. I am only possessed of Manushyatvam or body. I am only possessed of Manushyatvam. This should have been our experience. If Atma's adhyasa, because Anyonya adhyasa we talked of, if Atma's adhyasa upon the body, upon the Anatma, were not real adhyasa, were not complete adhyasa, but only connecting, just coming in touch with it. Connecting means just coming in touch with it, that's all. Touching, coming into touch. If Atma was only coming into touch with the body, not superimposed upon the body, then what would be our experience? I am possessing the body, I am possessing the Manushyatvam, but I am the Atma possessing the body. I am the Atma possessing body or possessing Manushyatvam. This should have been our experience. Okay, I am possessing the body, I am possessing Manushyatvam. This should have been our experience. If Atma is not superimposed upon the body, only Atma is coming in touch with it, only touching is superimposed. If only coming into touch alone was superimposed, samsarga dhyasa, okay, if only samsarga was adhyasta, Atma was not adhyasta, what would have been our experience? I am possessed of the body, I am possessed of Manushyatvam. I am possessing the body, I am possessing the Manushyatvam. I am not the body, I am not the Manushyatvam. I am not Manusya. But what is our experience, actual experience? I am Manusya. All the bodily qualities are my qualities. I am Manusya. I am possessing bodily qualities, nobody says. I am those qualities only, isn't it? When you say I am those qualities, then your Atma is superimposed upon the body. This is what Purvapakshi says. Tasmat na dehatmanoha parasparadhyasaha. Therefore, what happens? Now you have to admit that Atma Anatma mutual superimposition alone you have to admit. Okay. Purvapakshi says, he is refuting Mula Vidyavadis. Mula Vidyavadi told samsarga only touching is adhyasa, not Atma is adhyasta. And he refutes them. Then if Atma is adhyasa, he confirms that Atma is adhyasta. Now he concludes, if Atma is adhyasta upon the body and the body is adhyasta upon the Atma, both of them are adhyasta, there will be Shunyavada. So to avoid Shunyavada, you have to say there is no adhyasa. That's all. Purvapakshi has argued so much to say mutual adhyasa is neither complete adhyasa nor, see, the mutual adhyasa is neither complete adhyasa nor samsarga adhyasa. Do you understand? I am complicating it. I think I will repeat it generally I go very slowly. Today I don't know, I am in a mood of going fast. Fast in the sense I would have elaborately detailed explained. Anyway, after explaining the whole Purvapaksha, we will come again second round. I think that gives you, instead of going sentence by sentence, we will explain the whole Purvapaksha one round and come again second round, that becomes clear. Today whatever you have understood, you understand. If you don't understand, if you have doubts, wait. In the next class I will clear further. Mostly I have cleared, but still if it is not clear to some people, I will clear it in the next class. Okay. So there are two. Atma, Anatma, both are Swarupadhyasa. Our second is Anatma is Swarupadhyasa, Atma is Samsargadhyasa. So one is both are Vedantins. So Purvapakshi says both the adhyasas are not acceptable. Because Mula Vidyavadins is against experience. Mula Vidyavadins is against experience. Then Shankara Vedantins, though it is in keeping with experience, it will land us in Shunyavada. Okay? I think I have to explain more, I am too fast. There are two things. Mula Vidyavadis adhyasa, see, two things are there. Body totally superimposed on the Atma. This adhyasa is common to Shankara Vedanti and Mula Vidya Vedanti. Okay. Both of them have one thing common, that body is totally superimposed on the Atma. When it comes to Atma superimposing upon the body, Mula Vidyavadi says Atma's touching alone is superimposed. Only touch alone is superimposed, not the Atma. And Shankara Vedanti says Atma is superimposed upon the body. In these things, Purvapakshi says, if you take Atma is superimposed upon the body completely, then Atma will not exist independently, then it would land us in Shunyavada. Or if you take only touching is superimposed, then it goes against experience. Okay. In either way, you are wrong. Then what is this thing? Neither touching is superimposed nor completely superimposed. Then what is that? There is no superimposition. There is Atma and there is body. Both are existing. Atma is using the body. That's all. Atma exists, body exists. Body is dependent upon Atma. Atma is using the body. Okay. This is Purvapakshis. I think I have to some degree explained. It is a little more complication. We shall continue it. I shall repeat these things again, the whole thing, okay, and make it clear with examples. We will make it clear in the next class. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Harihi Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Harihi Om Tat Sat.